gonna give less money because his fans fucking suck.
There with that top cheer.
Oh well. So he at an all-time high, but if he fall from his being as good as he want to be,
Iconic
he
Christian
needs 30,000 a month from Twitch.
cheered and said, "Let's hope that in 2019 it's a positive
30 grand a month
Phil,
from Twitch, then he'll be good."
There's toxic people who come in and ruin the stream for you, but let's hope that it gets better for you and me and my brother, and so many people will support your content forever. Thank
Who
you
cares
very much,
about your
Iconic
brother?
Christian,
Who are
for the
you?
cheer. Appreciate that. Nice positive message.
That didn't
right?
sound positive at all.
Okay.
He brought up a bunch of negative shit. If I call you an asshole and give you $1, that don't mean I'm being positive. I just gave you $1. More manual bans. I'm trying to chill with Phil, but it's always about money. Ban.
This year.
Another manual ban? Yep,
right.
a nigger finger cat. That's gone. Eventually. Just hold on. He's still trying to ban him.
Basically, in regards to streaming.
He's so slow.
There have been highs and lows.
And Sir moans a lot say that it's not
ever,
letting him ban people.
And I also saw bad streaming ones. Okay.
Where that one showed on screen too, didn't it?
I could maintain a certain level of success, and I didn't for whatever reason.
Bad.
What I noticed was that earlier on this year it was slower because the holidays
Is he
ended,
unbannable?
But then once the new games started coming out, it actually started picking up.
Maybe he is.
And what I noticed is around April, May, June, those 3 months, things were on a big upward trend. And at
Time
that
to brag
point,
and then beg for money
I was
afterwards.
still with my partnership network on YouTube and everything, and it looked like I was going to start to get positivity. I was going to start to get other opportunities,
money.
which we'll talk about later on in this segment.
I like how positivity
really
equals
Everything
money.
looked positive and good. And, you know, I was like, wow, this is great. And I'll be honest, during the summer months, it was amazing. Like, during the summer months, there wasn't a lot going on.
Wasn't it because of Tut?
At all.
Stop looking at the fucking chat, dude. Just do your speech.
During the summer months, I was still playing downtime games that normally wouldn't bring in a lot of viewers, but people were coming and watching, people were contributing, things were great. That's good, because typically what would happen for me as a content creator is during the summer months, there's no new games. That means my viewership's way down, my profit's way down. Now I'm screwed over, and I depend on the last 3-4 months of the year to make up for it. It was kind of the opposite this year. During the summer months, people were coming in and suggesting downtime games like Simpsons Hit and Run and stuff like that. And I was playing them and challenging myself to beat them, okay, which I did. I didn't quit on these games. I played them. I even went back to other games like Persona 3, Scarface. Went back and beat some of these games that previously were kicking my ass. And I went back and beat them, and people loved it. Replaying games like Grand Theft Auto, Vice City, and San Andreas, in modern graphics or whatever. People loved it, and contributions were high. So I was
were high. He was on cloud nine.
Right?
Happiest pig in the world because the money was up.
I couldn't complain. Things are going.
He was complaining a shit ton during that Grand Theft Auto playthrough. Because that was when he lost YouTube.
Okay.
He couldn't complain. He complained every day back then.
Is that we had someone named Tutankhamun.
Nice. Tut segment.
Who came in and derailed the way that the streams were going because he wanted to be the center of attention. He wanted to come in and drop sub bombs, and he wanted to drop cheer bombs, and he wanted to drop.
He enabled this, by the way.
He wanted, whenever he was on screen,
he gave Tut all the attention he wanted until he said something he didn't like.
For his contributions,
then he got mad at him,
and he would start arguing with stream chatters, and he would start arguing with the moderators, and he would start basically getting into trouble. That people would kind of be like, well, I guess we just got to kind of put up with him because he's being so positive and contributing to Phil. All right. Now, I'll be honest with all of you. When Tutankhamun came along, it was kind of like a godsend. And the reason I say that is because without him and his contributions, I might have been completely screwed over financially in 2018. Because if you remember, that's when I lost my partnership with Curse on YouTube. That's when my YouTube channel couldn't have ads for a month. Like, there was so much shit that happened on YouTube this year that we'll talk about in a moment, all right, that screwed me over financially, that without Tutankhamun's, contributions, I don't know what would have happened. But the short-term aid that he gave me, it was only about a month and a half, 2 months tops that he was being supportive, ended up long-term hurting me. And you might say, well, why? Well, basically, people who had
giving me a lot of money prevented me from getting more money. He's annoyed because people didn't decide to keep giving him a lot of money after he made a lot of money.
People got turned off.
They got turned
off. I don't want to be on
off.
that stream where the whole stream everyone's just talking about this guy dropping sub bombs or whatever. You know what I mean? Or cheering constantly or whatever. We don't want to do that. So it would basically turn it into a negative thing. And that's basically what it was a situation where I lost the ongoing long-term support of certain people in exchange for short-term support from a certain guy who got me through a bad time, but then ended up becoming a toxic influence. Hates my guts, sends me these nasty emails about how he hates me and he wants his money back and shit. And I'm like, I don't know anything about this. I never talked or insulted to the guy directly on a stream. I was not involved in any kind of negativity with the guy whatsoever. All of a sudden he says, I'm a villain, I hate you, I want my money back. It's obvious this guy was plotting to do shit like this from the get-go. He had something wrong with him, probably didn't like me, and thought, oh,
either subscribe, donate, or get the fuck out.
Savior, and then I'm gonna fuck him in the long run.
Can't do it. I can't
In reality, he screwed himself over because I kept all of it. I mean, I don't know what he thought was gonna happen. When you do cheering and subbing on Twitch, it's non-refundable. It doesn't matter what he claims, because he claimed he got it all back on his credit card. That's a blatant lie. I can tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, from my personal experience with credit cards, here's how it works. If you have a credit card charge, and you contact your credit card company, and you dispute the charge, okay, they're going to ask you, why are you disputing it? Now, you have a few things you can say. You can either say, my card was lost or stolen, in which case you have to document and prove it. You can't just say that and then they write it off, okay? Or you can say, well, I didn't authorize that charge. Somehow they got my information. Or you can say, I didn't agree to pay that. I agreed a certain amount and they overcharged me or whatever. Those are basically the three things you can do, okay? The credit card company then does what's called an investigation. They don't just grant you your money back magically, which is apparently what this Tutankhamun guy is telling everyone they did. They didn't. He's a fucking idiot liar. What they do is they launch an investigation that takes weeks. And what they'll do is they'll actually contact, they contact the retailer or company or whoever the hell that payment's with and get information from them. Well, what was this for? Do you have receipts? Do you have evidence of anything? Okay? I'll give you a perfect example. When I first moved here, I bought a bunch of furniture for the house. The salesman who sold me the furniture lied to me and told me it was going to be a total price for all
What the fuck?
I signed a receipt saying that's what it was. He billed me for it on my credit card. Then 3 months later, I received another bill.
I've never
for
heard
another
this
piece of
before.
furniture that I had delivered in the meantime, but he had told me I'd already paid for it when in reality
Okay,
I didn't.
whatever.
I contacted my credit card company and said, I don't want to pay it. They did the research and said, well, legitimately, did you accept the furniture? I said, yes, I did, but I never agreed to pay it. They said, well, since you accepted the furniture, you basically have to pay for it. If you don't agree on the price, you got to go argue with that company. So I would have had to go back to the store and basically argue with the store manager that the salesman did a terrible job, probably get the guy fired, in order to get my money back for that piece of furniture. So I didn't bother with it at the time. I mean, at that point, it was what, 4.5 years ago. I wasn't going to go get into a giant fucking argument in the middle of a store with no guarantee of any kind of a payback for it. Okay?
Yes, argument in the middle of the store. Sure.
The credit card company research, we're not going to give you your money back. There's no fraud here. With no evidence, a credit card company will never give you your money back. Now, I'll give you an example of a time when I did get my money back. I'd gone on a trip. It was one of those conventions that I had gone to with John Rambo.
Never heard about
When
this.
I was in the airport, I'd use my credit card to swipe and prove my identity to get my boarding pass to print out at the airport. When I got back home from this trip 2 weeks later, there were charges in Florida while I was in Connecticut. So I was at a store in Connecticut buying food, and then the same day, someone in Florida charged to the same card a resort fee because they were at a hotel.
Why he pretending like he bought stuff then?
Connecticut and Florida at the same time. So I called my credit
How is
card
this
company
him?
and said, this obviously isn't me. Okay, that is concrete evidence. We're going to give you your money back. And they gave it to me. Okay? So,
I mean, technically he got his money back, but he talked about it like he spent money and got it back.
He's a complete dog-faced liar. Everything he's ever said was dishonest and horseshit.
Wow, listen to this
He
shit
lied
about
to everyone
this is a
about
harassment
everything. He
section
claims he got all the
segment.
money back.
I thought you
He
couldn't
did
harass
not.
people on Twitch.
All that money that he ever put towards anything, whether it was cheering, subbing, or tipping, everyone should have been able to keep at least. In regards to the tips, he tried to charge me back for over $1,000 in tips. I got them all. I went to PayPal. I explained the situation. I said I have hard evidence. I have emails that I've talked with this guy. I could show you stream logs of where he's been. I could show you all this evidence. And they said, we don't even need that. So, we believe you. And
Yeah,
I kept
that's what PayPal say about $1,000. We believe you.
A fucking liar. And the good news is I made out in that situation. But sadly,
They say we believe you, Phil, and we like all your videos.
Because here's what happened.
And thank you for 10 years of content. And Tevin is a scrub. That's what they said in the email. Manual ban.
I've had enough of this guy too.
He had enough of them.
Get out of my stream chat.
Hella Black been there for
For
fucking
the months
weeks.
of August and September,
He waited till today to have enough of them.
This guy came in and was being positive and contributing.
And this is what Hella Black said for DSP to have enough of them. He said, "You're gonna get banned. Stop talking bad about him. It's against TOS." I had enough of him. Fucking idiot. Ban. Welcome to ban world.
But what happened was,
jeez.
now people were like, "Well, Phil's got all this money or whatever."
He had enough of them.
He's good. So they stopped contributing on stream. They stopped turning up to streams. And October, a month when I was playing the most new games of the year in 1 month, a month when I should have, by all logic, more viewers on the streams, probably more contributions, more everything, was the slowest month of 2018.
I thought it didn't check views.
Can you believe that? The slowest month was the busiest month. The month that I streamed more, was playing more new games, spent more money on games than any other month, was the slowest month on Twitch because this guy completely derailed all of my momentum. Because of
it wasn't because normal like actual humans didn't want to do a thing. He thinks they are fucking robots. So he thinks to himself, I'm playing new games. So they're gonna donate. They didn't donate, and he thinks it's someone else's fault. They all actual people, DSP. You do realize this, right? That you can't make real life people do what you want them to do.
Everything got derailed. All right. Now what I can tell you is that in November I did slightly better. This month, December, even outside of the person who was very generous, who we'll talk about in a moment, Eternal Emerald 7, excuse me, who dropped those sub bombs a couple weeks ago. Even outside of him, this month on Twitch has been a great month. Okay, profitable. Great. If I had been able to,
didn't he say it was a slow month? Like 2 weeks ago.
The best month of the year on Twitch.
Now it could have been the best month of the year.
So now.
So did you lie then, or you lying now?
Because I didn't work for
it was like.
Over in that regard,
oh my god.
Income. But this month was a good month. Okay.
He just complained about it not being a good month.
We're gonna have some downtime playthroughs, like I said, either Grand Theft Auto 3 or
profitable. Fucking business meeting.
Paired in with the new games like Ace Combat, paired in with the bigger new games at the end of the month like Resident Evil 2, Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm hoping we can keep that going. Then of course February, March, we've got tons of new games, which is we're gonna talk about in a future segment on the podcast here about 2019 coming up. So I think 2019 is gonna be a great year, and as long as we can keep this stuff going the way it's going now, this month, we should have great momentum and should be good in 2019. The problem is, it really did put a big damper on
DSP, the most talented streamer in the world that totally doesn't have to rely on momentum in games to get him money. Tell us that he needs to rely on momentum in games to get him money. He got to play Dark Souls again for the 1000th time in Grand Theft Auto and hope he gets donation momentum and play a bunch of new releases and remakes and remasters. I thought you was the talented one, DSP. Come on. Can't pay his bills, by the way.
And, you know, there are a bunch of bills that overdrafted my account this month that was like hundreds and hundreds of dollars that I needed that was gone because of overdraft fees and stuff. Now I don't get paid by Twitch again until the 15th, and I'm screwed again because I don't have the funds because I didn't work for it. So it's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't, you know? Like, I don't know what to do to get this to settle into a situation where I'll be okay, except finally.
I don't know how much I have to keep playing the same games to make you robots donate a consistent amount every month. His viewers are robots.
Now, let me talk a little bit about YouTube.
Oh, great, YouTube. Really screwed up. The toxic place.
Right. We started off the year decent.
Turban gets to stream
that. The first
that.
few months of the year were terrible with YouTube. I'd say like January, February, March, really bad, slow, not a lot of income, no ads on YouTube. It's par for the course. Every year it's like this. But then it started to pick up again during the year. Keep in mind, I had this partnership with Curse. So I knew I was getting the best advertisements possible because Curse is a network, partnership network on YouTube, that gives you the best ads, basically. Okay? I was able to do every kind of advertisement possible, including the non-skippable video ads and stuff that pay out the most on YouTube. And it was benefiting me in a big way. Okay. But that being said, what ended up happening this year on YouTube was awful. First of all, in the month
you like all those
June,
and shit?
If you guys
that happened
remember,
because it's a dude in his chat that he want to ban.
For like 3 days. Why?
But thankfully a mod got him before he had to get him. But that's what distracts him. Every time. Pay your bills so you don't have overdraft fees banned. You will have more money if you didn't double pay bills, expecting Christmas streams to make it up for you. Banned.
It failed miserably. No one cared about it.
You're like, man, mods, please. I don't want to try to
lean
lean on and ban this dude. People are gonna make fun of me.
To do it. Okay, so it's a social network no one ever used, and by the way, they're basically closing it, and they're not going to be using it much anymore, if at all. Okay. That being said, DSP Gaming, my YouTube channel, was linked to this fucking account. And guess what? For some reason, it identified me uploading legitimate gameplay videos to my channel as spam on the social network account. They suspended the social network account, which for some reason suspended the YouTube channel, despite the fact they're not.
It's pretty silly that he's telling us this. He told us this. Didn't he tell us this for Thanksgiving?
So it took me.
He told us this for Thanksgiving. Shit that happened in the summertime, and now he's telling us again on New Year's Eve.
No clue how to fix it. Live on.
I know it's the recap stream, but why is it all negative?
Trying to figure it out. They didn't know shit from shit.
All of this is negative.
My own research and figured it out for myself.
Does nothing good happen to you, DSP? I thought you had a great life living with your girlfriend.
Shared it on Twitter, which, by the way, over 10,000 people read the guide and used it to fix their channel. Because YouTube fucked up so bad. But of course, YouTube won't talk about that publicly. They never do. They never admit fault. So, after that debacle was cleared up, okay, I get contacted by my partnership network in June, late June, to tell me, basically, we're probably going to have to get rid of your partnership. And you know, it sucks because we like you. We know you as a content creator. We know who you are. We know you've been a content creator for 10 years. We know you don't violate any of YouTube's terms of service.
Phil, you're great. You have done nothing wrong. That's what everybody in his life tell him.
Nothing negative we can say about you. You've been a joy to work with for over the year that you've been partnered with us. However, YouTube now has new policies that they're instituting with partnership networks where they're forcing us to make sure that people in our network don't abuse YouTube's rules, and even to the point where like there's a new system where you have to log that if someone gets a report against them, that you actually, as the network, did the research to make sure they didn't legitimately violate any YouTube rules or whatever. And if networks didn't do this, to do due diligence to make sure that their partners were violating YouTube's rules, they would be held accountable. And basically
this makes no sense, by the way. I mean, he told us this shit for Thanksgiving, but this doesn't make any sense. The partner company have to make sure the report is valid by checking the report. But if they don't check the report, then who checks to see if the report is valid? Does YouTube check every report after the partnership company?